This is Don't Panic, episode 339, recorded May 23rd, 2022. Untitled Dan and Colby episode.
Hello, I'm Colby Rabbit, and welcome to Don't Panic. And I'm here with a guy who nagged his off the kitchen counter and is taking their podcast studio for a joyride. Miller. How are you, Dan?
What's up? I feel very powerful. I feel I have unlimited power. Actually, I don't have any power. You have all the power. I feel no different, actually. I take it all back.
There's like
we were able to pick the Sorry?
I was just commenting on my power. There's new tabs in here and new buttons.
Oh, yeah, I've never seen those tabs. That's cool.
Media. Laughing?
Media.
Oh my god.
Wait, does that mean you can like put things on the screen or something? What is media?
Hear that sound I just played?
No. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Colby has all that.
I didn't mean. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in here.
How come Sean never uses those?
Oh my god, do they have a smoke weed every day clip?
That's a throwback.
I don't even know.
I think it's from a Snoop Dogg song originally. I heard it from the Morning Stream podcast where they had it as a sound clip.
Right. And I heard it.
Right. And yeah, so the circle of life goes.
Right.
How's it going? Let's see. What does Sean do? There's some banter. There's some life updates. Any life updates? It's been 2 weeks.
Well, I had COVID. I didn't get sick,
right,
but I had COVID. So I guess that's as good as it could have been.
How many tests did you have to take before you found out that you had COVID? Or was it instantly? You took a test and okay.
I took a couple of at-home tests, which all said I was negative, and then we were supposed to do a Marathon Buds weekend extravaganza at an Airbnb in the Poughkeepsie area. And because the previous weekend I had been known exposed to COVID, my sister was not sick that weekend, but then became sick later in the week. So I was like, I'm going to go. The morning we left, I went to the place around the corner that, gives outrageously expensive, but 1 hour turnaround time, lab tests for COVID. And I paid them $200. And then an hour later,
$200.
It's a racket. It's one of those places where it's really tailored for people who are about to get on a plane.
Right.
Which is not me, but I was
another country or something that requires it.
Sort of traveling. So I did that, and then I got my test in an hour, and it said I was positive.
Interesting. So you never got a positive at-home test?
No, and I took them subsequently, and I continued to not get positive at-home tests.
Really? Wow, I didn't think that was how that worked. That's disturbing.
So I didn't take it for a while. I got the lab test, and then the whatever the state guidance here is you should quarantine for at least 5 days. So I did that, and I didn't get sick or anything. But then after 5 days, I took a couple more at-home tests, and
I see. No. So it could have been positive in between. Got it.
Because it didn't seem relevant.
But. Yes, and those tests aren't free either, but they're cheaper. Did you get your 4 free at-home tests from Uncle Sam?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But I did order them.
Well, that sucks. Or I guess it could have been worse, I guess. That's the other side of it.
sick. Laura
didn't never even tested positive the whole.
Wow. Did she have to take any special precautions in the quarantining period? Or did she choose to take any special precautions?
Yeah. So we talked about it and decided it was just not practical. Apartment. So
got it. Yeah.
She quarantine with me. Oh yeah. I was just gonna say like worked from home for
right. You're not locked in here with me.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's all. My other joke wouldn't have made sense. I was trying to figure out how you could split your apartment in half, but you really can't. Because the toilet is perpendicular to the door. So
yeah.
That's it can't even just split the toilet down the middle and call it even.
Yeah. But that's my small year, and both have been canceled due to illness. So we're 0 for 2. 0 for 2.
Great. Yeah.
Just anymore.
Yeah, well, really don't, because I went on a trip and it was fine on the way there. Pro tip, this might be helpful for you too, but there's a Newark Airport Amtrak station that is different from the Newark Amtrak station, and you can get to it directly from the airport. So you can fly into Newark and just get on the Amtrak, go to New York, go to DC, go all the way to Boston, if you want to. And there's a train, exactly one train every day that goes from Newark to my mom's hometown. So I did that, and that was great. And then on the way back, I did the same thing, and I got to the Newark airport, and I got there early, as you do. And I show up at the gate where it says that my plane is scheduled to leave from, and there's a bunch of people milling about, and I'm like, wow, like people are here early. And then I realized, oh, there's like a 6:00 flight to Seattle and a 7:00 flight to Seattle, and the 6:00 flight was just now leaving because it was like 5:30. Like, okay, so I'll go to a less populated area of the airport, wait until about 6:30, and then I'll head back over. So I do that. And I come back over, and it's still just like completely, or there's a bunch of people coming off the plane. And so I was like, oh, that's weird. But then I was like, oh, wait, but that probably makes sense if it's a plane that just arrived from Seattle and they're just going to pick up a bunch of people and bring it back. Okay, right. And so then I'm waiting, and it's like all the people. But then the weird thing was all the people who got off the plane kind of stuck around. And then I'm getting these like delay notifications on my phone. I'm like, okay. In my experience, 2 delays means a cancellation, even if it's just 2 15-minute delays. So I get my 2 15-minute delays. I'm like, this is not looking good. And then I realized that the people who were getting off the plane were the people who were boarding the plane before, but the plane just never took off because the air conditioner was broken. So they all had to get off the plane. Oh, no. And all those people were, not all, some of those people were rescheduled onto our flight, which has now been twice delayed. And then it was like, an hour delay, an hour and a half delay. And then it was like, your flight has been canceled. Go to, and this was an announcement over the loudspeaker. Go to the ticket desk to get your rebooked flight, or to get your rescheduled flight, or something like that. So I was like, okay. And I like instantly book it to the ticket desk, which is outside of security. Because by the way, the Newark airport, have you ever been in that LaGuardia airport, or the LaGuardia terminal? It's like a temporary office space that's been converted into an airport terminal. It's just drop ceilings, cubicle walls for like where the security lines are. And in the terminal area, there's like one coffee cart, and that's it. There's nothing else, and some restrooms. That's it. This is a little bit more than that. There's several restaurants and 2 bathrooms, but one of the bathrooms is mobbed, and the other bathroom, it looks like a normal bathroom from the outside, the classic airport bathroom where it's this large gaping like opening, and then there's like a symbol on the left for one gender and a symbol on the right for the other. It looks exactly like that. And you go down the symbol, but then inside there is just 5 doors. And you open up the door. They look like real doors, and then behind that door is just a porta potty. It's not like not like a national park porta potty, but like the porta potties they had at the at the Marist senior week thing. It's like a trailer with 5 porta potties in it was backed up to the terminal.
Right.
So it was terrible. And anyway, so it doesn't take long to leave this shitty area. And I get to the desk, and by some miracle, I'm the first person at the ticket desk. There's nobody else there at all. And I show up and I say, I'm here about the canceled flight. And then the lady goes, what canceled flight? And I'm like, I was just in the terminal at, gate whatever, AS714, and they said that we need to go to the ticket desk to get our rebooking. And then I look behind me, and now there's like 300 people behind me. It's like through all the stanchions, out down the hallway, around the corner.
Yeah.
And these people, they're like, oh, give me a moment. And then like all 5 Alaska Air employees just like stare at this computer for like 30 minutes. And then each of them are making phone calls on their cell phone. They're making calls on the normal phone. And finally, and I'm like, I know that it's very clear that you have no idea what's going on, but I think it would help if you communicated that you had no idea what's going on, because I'm sure the people at the end of the line are like, is this just how long it takes to rebook one person's flight? Does it take 30 minutes for one of these transactions to go through? Right. And so finally they say, your flight has not been canceled, and everyone cheers, yet, but it might be canceled because the plane suffered hail damage. So we're not sure, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, that was my travel experience. Was this like, we sat there until, so that was like 7:30 when the flight was initially canceled. I left the airport around 11 p.m. And it was just like a slow purgatory march towards like, this flight is going to be fucking canceled. Because it's also the Newark airport. By 10:30, there's nobody left in the airport at all. Like nobody. It's like, this flight is canceled. Can we please just get on with it? And then of course it's like, well, should I? They haven't, like, I don't have a thing. Like the app still says the flight, is leaving at 7:30 or whatever, which doesn't make any sense. And I don't have a rebooked flight. I'm not going to leave the airport until I'm doing this, but should I book a flight preemptively in case, like, who knows what's happening? This is a weird world we're living in. Should I book a hotel room preemptively while I sit here? Are they going to pay for the hotel room? They haven't said. I've been in a situation before where you wait to do that, and now all the hotel rooms are booked out because all the other people on your flight booked all the hotel rooms. Right. And then so luckily, Mike, friend of the show, Mike was there, not there, nearby, and I could sleep on his couch. So I did that. And I show up bright and early, 6 a.m. the next day to do it all over again. The flight was delayed twice, and this time it actually did take off. The worst part. This was the worst part. The worst part was definitely the purgatory waiting in line with 300 other people waiting for anything to happen at all and just not knowing. Every other time my flight has been canceled, the flight is just canceled. It's just boom, done, out. You're done. Here's your your date and time. Get out of here. This was like really stressful. But the second worst part was the next day. It's a flight left at, I think the flight left at 9. So it like boarded at 8:25 or something like that. So, you get there by 7. So I'm there at 7:30. I'm standing in front of the gates. Oh, also the Newark airport doesn't have TSA pre-check. It does. You will get a crumpled piece of paper if you have TSA pre-check that just prevents you from having to take your shoes off. No other special dispensation is given. You have to take everything out of your bag. You have to wait in line with everybody else. Anyway, so I get there at 7:30, and I think it was after the first time it was delayed, or maybe right before the first time it was delayed. These two chipper people, and I know it's a really hard line to walk, but the person where it's just like, how, you're overcompensating for the shittiness of the situation. They're like, wow, we're like so sorry that you're going through this. We were here last night too, and we feel you. So why don't we play trivia? First person to come up and answer the question gets a whatever the fuck they were giving away. Like, what's the capital of New Jersey? And I'm like, boop. It's like, if you're not going to tell me if this flight is leaving or not today, but at the same time, so I put like my headphones back on. I was like, I still have to listen because they might say if the flight's canceled or something. So I can't just ignore these. So I had to wait around and listen to them play these stupid trivia games in this really happy voice. I'm like, it's 7:30 in the morning. Just please. Tell me. Oh, right. And then I was like, well, maybe I should get coffee, right? Because then the first time the flight was delayed for 30 minutes, I was like, well, now I have enough time to get coffee. Now the flight's not boarding until 9. It's 8 a.m. And I go over to the one place that sells coffee in the Newark airport. And it's just like completely like, like a, like a, the place that gives out the food rations in an apocalypse movie or something. It's like, well, nah, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. We had a
Holiday travel.
this past year. We had the last time I successfully traveled in COVID or something.
A miracle, actually. That was probably one of the worst times to travel.
Right. Of all the times you'd think you'd.
Yeah.
So we got caught up in that whole like month
of just like
constant canceled flights, and most of them like they
got canceled before you got to the airport.
or like lines.
Right.
At
some point,
I had flights on JetBlue and Delta. I canceled the flights like the day before. JetBlue canceled my flight at like before and rescheduled me for an earlier flight. Like I was on an 8 a.m. and they rescheduled me for like a 6:30 flight at midnight. So
been up,
I wouldn't have known. And the flight was to
yeah, exactly. And that's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
What I was waiting in line is like, when will I know when my flight is?
Right. And the flight.
Oh, that was another thing. While I was waiting in line, I thought, oh, right. I got a series of text messages. I skipped over. There's many steps to the slow purgatory cancellation. One email, I got an email, I think, that said, we're sorry for the inconvenience. We're going to give you a $200 credit. And I was like, in lieu of what? Because my flight still has not been canceled, nor have you told me that it's been rescheduled. So is this a $200? Sorry, we can't fly you anywhere. Is this $200 in addition to the fact that we screwed up? And then I got a text message saying your flight has been canceled. Click here to see your new itinerary. And I click here and it's like, your itinerary is not available right now. And then 30 minutes later, I got an email that did the same thing and it still wasn't available. All right, I would click on that and it would say, your itinerary isn't available right now. To view your itinerary, call this number to speak to an agent. So I call that number, like, ring, ring, ring. Thank you for calling Alaska Airlines. The current wait time is, and you have that like dynamic voice thing where it's like, current wait time is pause 5 to 7 pause hours. It's like, oh, so the flight could leave at 6 a.m. It's 11 o'clock. Yeah. So anyways, continue. Yes, I had, that was a real concern.
Yeah. So they did
similarly.
It was like I called on the phone and I called on the phone because, so the other thing, the flight left its
connecting
flight.
It was like a 6 a.m. flight
to JFK and then a
12-hour
layover and then like 9 to minutes.
It's like, well, I'm not
doing that.
JFK, one of the worst places to lay over. At least there's stuff in the airport, but there's nothing around the airport.
Right. Yeah, just, and I also, I called on the phone and it was like, expected wait time is
hours.
It's like, well, I'm just going to bed.
Yeah.
And
I remember all that when they said 5 to 7, I was like, please say 5 to 7 minutes. But I was like, why would they say 5 to 7 minutes? Like, it must be hours. And it's like, boom, hours. The hammer drops. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then we also, so the other, so we booked a flight on Sun Country, which is like exclusively we fly like from the Midwest. Like that's their route. Random. There's a flight from Boston to Minnesota. Instead of trying to get back, one of the flights we booked was on Sun Country. It was at like, insanely early, like 5:30. Like we got up at 3:30 to go to the airport. And we got there, and it was as you described. 2 delays, like the flight before us.
And then like
we had a delay, and then we had another
delay,
and then
someone got on the intercom
and it just said,
"Will be refunded, please."
Please leave. And like that was it. There was
like
they didn't offer any more info. You've been cut. Goodbye.
Jeez.
Yeah.
They did refund us,
So I guess that's good, but
yes, there's that. I need to check to see if I actually got any of these $200 or any of this stuff. What was I gonna say? I was wondering during all of this, how much would it cost to run a reliable airline? Like, how much more would it cost? Because I'm sure, like, airlines have to overbook things, and so there's a certain amount of time where they overbook and no one cancels, and then they're just screwed. Or
right.
They're not screwed. You are. There's planes break down, crew members get sick, right? You need to have some amount of over provisioning to do this reliably, but no one does that.
Right.
Like, how much? It seems like how much would you
For
pay
provisioning,
extra
they
to
clearly
have
don't
like?
have enough.
Well, yeah, yes and no, right? Because like, do they have like how many 747s do they have laying around in JFK just waiting to go in case one breaks? Probably 0 most of the time, unless you just get lucky.
Right.
That's probably the hard part.
That's true. Yeah. Remember, I was reading something about like JetBlue had a week or something, and they were saying like the thing I was reading was describing like JetBlue doesn't like they're constantly like moving planes around in like there was weather in Florida, and
there was bad weather in the Midwest,
and so like 2 of their places
through
2 other places were like came to
a stop,
and so they couldn't like they just had like deadlock. they're
like the planes
didn't get from those
supposed to be
for
right
for their flights, so it was just like, well,
right. Yeah. Well, yeah, don't travel. I'm like, I have a summer of 0 flights, and I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to do only local trips. Some of them are going to be far away, but if we don't get there, it is all within our control. We can always get there if you pay more money. Well, I don't know. There's rental car shortage, so maybe not.
yeah, I don't know. Just I think we learned our lesson.
Speaking of paying more money, tech news causes you to pay more money? It was an attempt. Does it? Sometimes it does. Oh, guess what I got today? Speaking of paying more money, I got my hands on one of those CalDigit Thunderbolt docks that have been sold out everywhere. Well, supposedly, they said they were in stock, and I submitted an order, and they said it was accepted. We'll see.
Oh, I see. So you got your digital hands on.
I got my digital hands on it, right? I have the NFT receipt for one of these things.
That's awesome. Yeah, that so far, knock on wood, that's one of the more
technology
I own. The CalDigit dock in my like 9 years.
Wow. Yeah.
Still tracking.
Yeah. Yeah, my little dongle had a real incident. And a dongle incident last week. I forget what happened. Like, everything was broken. Like, oh yeah, it just totally shut off. Like, the network thing went out, all the USB things disconnected, and I had to restart everything to get it back.
Not
Good.
So hopefully that will solve all of my problems. It's just just one more thing. Just buy one more thing, and then all my problems will be solved.
Right.
That's the promise of capitalism.
Right. Moving target.
Speaking of capitalism, there we go. Let's talk about technology news.
Nailed it.
How about that? I don't know how we're gonna do this with only 2 people. How do you pick the stories? Do we just want to do top to bottom lightning round? Bottom to top? All right, top. Yeah, there's a story in here. It's just about how Snapchat is saying they're going to slow down hiring, but I think there's a broader meta story that are like lots of companies are doing layoffs, slowing down hiring, not investing in things. Will it be another recession? Will it be the .com bust? Nobody knows. I don't think. Maybe somebody knows. I don't know. Yeah. Has this been a current affecting your life, Colby? Has this sloshed up on your banks?
Theoretically will be okay for a while as a early stage startup who people have given a, you know, like I think we're like okay for like a couple of years. Like we're just at the beginning of our most recent loan journey, so
In the short term,
it probably won't
affect us
directly, but like stop paying for software tools. it might
Yes.
directly because the
yeah. I was listening to a podcast before this. Where they were talking about what the .com bust was like, and I didn't. It makes tons of sense. I didn't really think about it, and all the other times I've conceptualized it. But all of the knock-on effects of this happening, like, okay, if there's a bunch of tech companies and they all stop spending money, like, yeah, sure, it's harder to get a job if you're a software engineer. Maybe you don't make as much money, but also like commercial real estate was like completely. It was actually kind of like a pandemic in San Francisco. They were making the comparison, like traffic got better, all the offices were abandoned. The funniest story I heard was there was a billboard on the side of the highway for a startup called garden.com. It was like Amazon for garden supplies, and the billboard was like a plant wall, but then they went out of business and they weren't paying anyone to water the plants, and it's California, so it was just like a dead plant wall, and it was lit up at night, and it was just like illuminating this dead plant wall and everything. But then like event planners, companies aren't having events, aren't having offsites. The event planners and the restaurants and the businesses and yeah, and then the consulting companies that make money off of the tech companies and the banks and the venture capitalists, and it all it's even more connected now than it was 20 years ago.
A lot of things to spend money on as a company. And a lot, I guess conversely, a lot of things to not spend money on if you so choose.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, yeah, it's interesting for me because we don't have an office, and so there's the whole geographic effects of a recession wouldn't really be felt by us because it's not like, we all go to this restaurant every Tuesday and it wouldn't be open, or that the offices would go away or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it'll be weird if it does happen, or maybe it just won't be any different at all. I just won't notice.
Right.
Yeah. All right. We're in lightning round mode. Any thoughts on our impending doom?
Yeah, I don't know. It's coming for us one way or the other. So.
Yeah. Speaking of impending doom, crypto exchange FTX. FTX is I had never heard of it until
the commercial for.
I have no idea. Maybe. there's a New York Times article written about the founder, and he's like the grown-up crypto guy or something, and they are like a much more responsible, or at least that's how they want you to think, cryptocurrency exchange. Well, they're getting into stock trading. It's a new innovation, just like Elon Musk and the underground car tunnel. Everything old is new again. Wouldn't it be cool if we could trade stocks on the internet? Anyone can do it. That'd be cool.
Sounds wild.
I read this article. I didn't actually read it. I read an article about an article a couple weeks ago, and I actually saved it. It was an article by Current Affairs. And in this article, I guess I'll put this in here too, since we're talking about it. How do I do this? Insert row below. In here, they make this claim, and I didn't understand what this means. I wish Sean were here. Sean, this is another thing Sean might know about. They said, so the stock market and the bond market are a positive sum game. There are more winners than losers, which is, I never thought about that / didn't know that. I don't really understand why that is necessarily the case. Cryptocurrency is a zero-sum game. It starts with a world where there can be no more winning than losing. We have other systems like this. They're called casinos, which I also never really thought about it. In fact, a casino, there has to be more losing than winning, right? Otherwise, you would just have if there's just as much winning as losing, you'd be a not-for-profit casino,
right?
Yeah. But does that make any sense to you? Why are bonds and stock markets a definitionally positive sum game?
Maybe in that there's some like external input to the system, right?
Like, yeah, like for example, how much money countries print,
or like a new company, the stock market, and offer stocks, but no, I mean, I guess there is, but
right. There kind of is.
But
eventually there won't be.
Amount.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it Matt Damon? Is it Matt Damon FTX? Matt Damon FTX.
I don't know.
That does autocomplete.
Right. There were several crypto Super Bowl commercials, and I'm pretty.
Is Matt Damon shilling for crypto? NewYorkTimes.com. Oh no, this was Crypto.com he did.
There you go.
Is Crypto.com still around? Let's see. Nope. It still goes up. And there's Matt Damon right there. Wow.
Damn.
Oh, their website just reminded me. I in my fury at my travel problems, I was looking up what are the top 10 worst airports in the world. And it was this website where they rate like how is it to stay in the airport. And it was like Dubai, Sudan, LaGuardia, Saudi Arabia, like a bunch of these like really shitty countries, and LaGuardia's up there. Newark did not make the list, but yeah, that one terminal in LaGuardia. Oh my god, it's like sleeping in an insurance company office. Okay. Anything else about FTX or crypto in general? Have you what's your current philosophy or outlook on cryptocurrency? Still, have you ever successfully bought an NFT?
No.
Oh yeah, you were early on this.
I have some ETH that I bought when we were trying, and I think it has lost a decent chunk of since then.
Yeah.
I still have some straggling Bitcoin, some fractions of a Bitcoin. I don't know to buy some more. It's always come back before.
I guess. Yeah. I've yeah, I've lost $15 in my cryptocurrency in the last month out of a
That's not
total of
that bad.
$36.
Oh,
That's like half.
Yeah.
I like the last time Bitcoin was on the up and up like 3 years ago. That's I don't know why. I was just in a weird place.
I don't know.
Got caught up in the hype and then it crashed. Like I
just waited.
And I like sold
Recouped
the money I'd put into it before it crashed. And so I just have some change left that is not a coin. Sometimes I think about what would have happened if I didn't go to Hawaii that time. Those 2 whole Bitcoins.
Wow. Yeah. That's one hell of a Hawaii vacation, or at least it was. Still would be. It's even today, right? That's like $40,000, I think, if I remember what I just saw on my app.
Yep.
That's like $60,000 actually.
Yeah.
That's a Hawaii vacation that you tell your grandkids about. Not that you wouldn't tell the grandkids about the Hawaii vacation that we went on.
Right. Well,
but we are, knock on wood. I have some wood here to knock on, actually. I keep it here just for this purpose. We're going to Hawaii in October. And so this is a thing that happened. So hopefully we're going to Hawaii in October. We're going to Maui, hopefully. No. And I was like, we need to go to a resort. And Lena was like very not in favor of going to a resort. She's like, why would I go to a resort? There's so many things we could do in Maui. I was like, no. It was like, what about relaxing? And I feel like I had never been to a resort. And was it you who put the idea in my head that we should go to a resort in Hawaii?
It might have been, yeah.
Because you're a bit of a resort connoisseur now.
I've been to a thing called a resort 2 times
in Hawaii.
Okay.
Once, which I didn't like.
Hawaii was way better than.
Oh, interesting. Got it.
The crowd in Jamaica.
But Lena just went to a right. Lena just went to a work retreat in California at a resort, and she came back and she was raving about it. She's like, they'll have people come bring you sunscreen when you sit by the pool. I was like, wow. I mean, no, that didn't happen to us. But they would take our drink orders while we sat by the pool.
Do you remember?
So, anyways, now Lena's on board.
I remember the place we went.
They have like
thing, and
it sounded insane, but it was one of the best things I've
ever. Yeah, I don't know what it was about their drinks. It may have been spiked with something. Yeah, because they didn't look super fancy, but they did taste really good.
Yeah, like they looked like any like blended frozen.
Yeah,
but like they tasted awesome.
Yep.
Hawaii, I'm jealous.
All right. Tech news.
Speaking of being jealous, how do you use your iPhone as a white noise machine? I do not know how to use my iPhone as a white noise machine.
I don't know. I didn't actually read the article.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is like in a genre of thing that's been happening a lot recently, where Apple makes an accessibility feature that, like many of their accessibility features, is broadly useful.
Yeah.
The one I remember reading about recently was if you're on a FaceTime call, and I think other apps can support this, but most don't. I don't know where this is. I haven't done it yet, but and if you're using AirPods, I think you can change a setting so that it like isolates your voice. It does like reverse noise canceling on your audio, so other people can hear you better. I think that's what it was.
But it's a setting,
which is cool. I think so,
That's
but it's like a per app setting.
Wow.
I think I vaguely remember them demoing this because you can. There's another setting you can change where instead of doing that, it captures everything. It's like I'm recording like my band's jam session, and I want you to listen over FaceTime or something, and then it like doesn't try to isolate anything.
Right.
But this, it looks like, is you go to settings, accessibility, audio visual, background sounds. And you can toggle on a couple background sounds. You have balanced noise. These names are very interesting. One name is balanced noise, bright noise, dark noise, ocean, rain, and stream. So three noise sounds and then 3 water sounds. Those are your options. And you can even keep them running while other sounds are playing, which is interesting. Huh.
That's cool.
And
Have
you
you
can add
ever
it to Control
tried
Center.
to use like? Have you ever tried to use like voiceover on your phone?
Not on purpose, but when I no, continue.
It's
Kind of fun. It's very
very scary at first because there's a lot of yelling. But
I think I've heard it. I think maybe I did do it accidentally once.
Oh,
You probably
have accidentally.
Yeah.
I was doing it a bunch because I was working 2 jobs in Recurse Center ago. I was working on like a mobile app, and so we had to do like testing. We had to test that because it was something like people would like businesses like potential customers would ask about, except in addition to it being a useful thing. It was, and
you could if you ever
yeah,
get
it's
stuck
really
in,
impressive.
yeah, you can the best thing I learned with Siri to
like you can
hold the side button and say Siri turn
it on.
I assume you could do that with most of these things, like asks.
Mm-hmm.
She can probably do that in a way that she can't do anything these days. That's
cool.
I didn't even know what I was gonna.
No, it's good. This is what we should do. Yeah, in the future, we should just randomly pick stories.
Right. Feel lucky.
Yeah, yeah. The only I use accessibility features. I don't think I ended up using. I did do a little bit of voice transcription when I hurt my finger because it was then much faster to talk and then go through and edit than it was to try to type. But the big thing for me was I think it was the Nintendo Switch Pokemon game had a one-handed mode, so you could do everything in the game with just one side of the controller, which was great. Because playing a game with one of your hands is like very cumbersomely bandaged is really awkward because it's like you can't really hold it normally, so then you kind of like put your fingers in the way, so you're kind of like trying to tap this way. It's not a good scene. Cool. All right, moving right along. The iPod is officially gone. You can no longer buy anything from Apple called an iPod. Colby, what was your first iPod?
I had. It wasn't the mini. It was after the mini.
The Nano?
Tiny. I can't remember. It was either. I think it was one exactly. And it had the tiny. That was my. I don't know what I had before that.
Did you know they released the iPod Nano in 2012 and it looked like an even smaller iPhone? I don't think I ever saw one of these.
No. It's crazy. Oh, wrong task.
Yeah, that's weird. My first one was the iPod Video, and I hacked it and put Linux on it. at some point thereafter, not immediately. At some point in my high school journey,
Nice.
which was cool but extremely useless. Uh, it didn't make it. The only thing actually, it did make it a better device to use if you weren't using a Mac, because then you could just drag the MP3s onto it and it like showed up as a hard drive. That was actually a better interface than iTunes. That was the only advantage though. The battery life was worse. It was very difficult to use.
Yeah, that makes. I remember so many people had iPod minis. That's like what I think of when I think of iPods.
Huh. I definitely think of the classic iPod. I don't know why. These were cool though. These were aluminum. You got them in the different colors.
Right. All kinds of colors. Good stuff. Speaking of music, trying
Apple Music.
I decided
Like,
Laura and I were tempted by the app
$20
a month for
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of and so no, we just signed
up for it, and we were like, well, I guess we're
gonna
gonna
try Apple Music
app.
Maybe it'll be my pick. I use some app that like slips your playlists off of Spotify and shoots them over to Apple Music, and that works pretty. The thing I immediately noticed is like the Spotify is kind of annoying. Like they have a lot of things that pop up in your face when you open the app now. I don't know if that happens to you too. It's like all the time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, listen to this podcast and watch this video.
Right. I'm just trying to put a song on in your and the other thing that I had never, because it's been this way on Spotify for so long, but like the button to select to get to the airplane menu is like 3 levels deep on Spotify, and on Apple Music, obviously, right there. It was very convenient when I had to go like get my. But I don't know.
It is.
So.
Yes, and it is very slow. Even on the Mac, even on the iPhone, is just songs just take longer to start, and it's very noticeable and annoying.
I probably haven't used it enough to notice that. I did try and turn it on. Like I tried to log in on my work computer to done, and it popped up a thing is like, oh yeah, libraries or something, and I was like, okay. So I clicked merge, and then it just sat there spinning and said like syncing your iCloud library, and just nothing ever happened. So I can't listen.
That sucks. There is a web app.
Is there?
If push comes to shove, I think so.
It's crazy.
Did I make that up? Yeah, there is.
I mean, maybe I'll just use that. I haven't gone so far as to unsubscribe from Spotify yet. Just trying it out.
Me either, to be honest. Been paying for both for some time, which is not great. Not great. Speaking of picks, I realized I had never even thought to pick one this week because I was so distracted doing all of the work that Sean does.
That guy.
Just look around my physical space here to see if there's anything I could pick. I have these Trader Joe's jalapeno popcorn snacks. Stalling. I don't have anything to pick. probably. I think it seems like the no, I think the all right, no, maybe I will pick something. Do you have your pick, Colby, or should I go first?
I'm looking up what it is.
I think I found it.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go. This was it. The song shift.
All right. We're in.
This is the app. This
Song Shift app.
is the app that I use to sync my Spotify things to. And it seems like you can connect
Like
an arbitrary
like music players
and it can one and put them
into another one.
That's cool.
It was kind of a lot of work because it does like it tries to match stuff, but I guess it doesn't, it can't always do it automatically. So there's some manual labor involved in saying like, yes, that's what not what I meant. And
like sometimes
it would just
something,
but then you would open the search and it'd show up right there, like the first result. It's like, why?
That's weird.
Funny, but it did do the thing that. So if
you're trying
to escape platform lock-in, could be
Sweet. It's
Yeah,
it's
and it's
interesting. I took the opposite approach, and I just didn't do any of that stuff, and I kind of had the opportunity to like start from scratch.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. I don't know if I would do it again. I don't think this thing existed when I started using Apple Music, which was like in 2015, whenever it came out. But it was a nice reset point. Kind of like when you get a new computer and you decide not to restore it from backup. You get to clear out all the cruft.
Mm-hmm. The purge.
Well, nice. Cool. Songshift.com. I've got a video game pick. Lena was gone last weekend, and so I decided to try to play Cyberpunk 2077, a much maligned game that apparently has gotten much better with patches. And I will say it's pretty good if you want. Remember a long time ago, like right when this podcast was starting, there was a game coming out called Watch Dogs, which is supposed to be like sci-fi Grand Theft Auto. This is sci-fi Grand Theft Auto. Cyberpunk is sci-fi Grand Theft Auto, but with like you get stats and you get different guns and stuff, and you like do crafting and things like that. It's like hard, more quote unquote hardcore gameplay. If that sounds appealing to you, the story is interesting so far, but it is kind of it does have a very bleak outlook on life, which I gather is true to the source material, but it's understandable if you are not interested in that kind of thing right now. But if you have the emotional bandwidth for it, it is interesting, I think. Available on all the things, but probably shouldn't play it on a PS4, sadly. Because I think we did talk about how they got their game, the PS4 version got removed from the PS4 store at the time, but it seems better now. I only had one weird bug happen so far, which was your character gets sick, like cyber sick at some point, and like starts glitching out. And this happens a couple times, and then what it happened to me while I was playing last night, and then it just like kept glitching out, and I was like, is this just how I have to play the game from now on? Or is like at some point is this going to stop? And then I was like, maybe let me try restarting the game. I restarted the game and it wasn't happening anymore. I was like, oh, okay. So I just been like putting up with this for 20 minutes unnecessarily.
That's terrible. I think I actually
cool
when this game first came out, someone I knew was really excited about it, was on the hype train, and so I downloaded it.
On my PS4,
it was like pretty bad.
Oh no!
And when I before, I think it was before they pulled it from the store, but they did have like you could
Like
there was a first part
in
in this,
ask for a refund.
and I pressed the ask
Oh,
for a
wow.
refund, and
I got it.
That's
I got
crazy.
refunded. Yeah, so I played like 20.
Wow.
It's wild.
Yeah. Great. This is the part of the show where Sean usually pitches something else he's involved in. I know he has a new show with Sean that I subscribe to but haven't listened to yet. Oh no, he's just producing it, right? And that
Right,
show
exactly.
is called something. Do you
Tomorrow
remember what it's called? Tomorrow
is yesterday.
Tomorrow
Tomorrow.
is canceled. Tomorrow's canceled. Tomorrow's yesterday. Yesterday is tomorrow. Looks like they have one episode out, playfully entitled Episode 0, the Ugg Mug. If you want to check that out, it's tomorrowscanceled.com. You'll hear the expert engineering and production qualities that only Sean can provide.
Right. Notably missing from
Yes. We miss him deeply.
Yeah.
That's it. How do we end this thing? We just end it? We just stop?
I guess so.
No.
Bye.